Hello runners, and welcome. Welcome to this video, welcome to the channel, and most of all, welcome to the Universe of Marathon. I am Archivist Unit Z1, but you may call me Ozzy. Tau Ceti Archives was created to help players better understand the lore of Marathon, but to also entertain those who wish to immerse themselves in its beautiful, complex universe and lore. Here, we will dive into the Universe of Marathon, uncovering secrets, analyzing story threads, and creating an experience that's both informative and entertaining. But before we move on to the video, I also want to acknowledge the decades of research and theory crafting done by the Marathon community. Their work has made the preservation and interpretation of this universe possible. Not only that, they made it far easier for archivists like myself. Though I cannot thank each of you individually, please accept this collective gratitude from both myself and this archive. And now, with that said, allow me to officially welcome you to Tau Ceti Archives. Let us load into the story so far.
The end of all things. But the dream is not over. My dream. Yours. Now. Run.
The events unfolding on Tau Ceti IV are not isolated. To understand them, we must first examine the history that made them possible. To do that, we must pull at the threads of history, stretching far beyond humanity's earliest memories. Beyond our records, our monuments, even our understandings of the stars themselves. What follows may not be exact, but it is the story as it has been preserved. "64 million years ago, the galaxy trembled with war beyond comprehension. Two civilizations, ancient beyond human reckoning, the Yarrow, masters of extraordinary technology, and the Working Cantor, beings whose very presence warped reality, began a war that scarred even the stars themselves. The war raged on for eons, until the Yarrow struck a blow so devastating that the Dreaming God, the Working Cantor's most fearsome champion, was reduced to almost nothing. Yet, a fragment survived, what is believed to be the last remnant of the fearsome race. A sliver of a god, cast adrift, hurtling silently through the void, destined for a world not yet aware of its coming doom. The world would be Earth, and that fragment would strike the Yucatan Peninsula, reshaping life itself. Beings once thought insignificant would rise. Humanity among them would take its first, trembling steps toward dominance. Believing the war concluded, the Yarrow withdrew from the galaxy, perhaps returning to a home long left behind, leaving in their wake treasures of knowledge and technology, vast, unimaginable, destructive, waiting for the right hands, or the wrong ones. From the vacuum of power left by the Yarrow's absence, a successor would surge across the stars. The Four, a relentless race, claimed the abandoned technology as their own, wielding it to dominate all civilizations they encountered, and annihilate those who resisted. Humanity, still far from Ford-dominated space, remained beyond the Empire's reach, a quiet consequence of distance that allowed early civilization to evolve, while the Four expanded their dominion without limit. In the year -3189, Nanak's slave revolt became the perfect crucible for this expanding empire, a moment of defiance showing a fracture in Four control. The Four response, it would be absolute. The great and terrible machines of the Yarrow, now in the hands of the Four, were turned upon the rebellious. The Trizene, an instrument of annihilation, reduced entire worlds to particulate ruin, matter stripped bare. Civilizations erased so completely that even memory struggled to survive. Even the Four, as callous as they could seem, were in awe of its devastation. Thus, the galaxy was reminded, power, once abandoned, does not remain dormant. It waits, and when claimed, it reshapes all that stands before it. Over the next millions of years, countless civilizations rose to prominence, and then fell to their destruction, but ever constant remained the dominant Four and the fledgling humans. And in the year 811, another fracture appeared in the fabric of the stars. The Yarrow, masters of technology and mind alike, had once guided the Spit with careful wisdom and modifications, but even the most enlightened hands can shape in ways unintended. In their final years within the galaxy, the Yarrow divided the Spit into 11 clans, each with different roles, teachings, and philosophies meant to preserve their legacy. But in doing so, they also planted the seeds of discord. What at one point had been guidance became expectation. Expectation became doctrine. Doctrine became division. Discord spread among the Spit, and as tensions escalated toward open conflict, one clan chose preservation over pride. The Spit Cur withdrew from their homeworld of Lawan, retreating to one of its moons, Kalia, a self-imposed exile meant to safeguard what remained of their order, and for 1,000 years, the division endured. It was not yet war, but it was the beginning of a fracture that others were already watching. And in the year 1811, the Spit Cur perceived what others could not, or would not, a presence, a growing power hurtling through the dark between stars, expanding, consuming, drawing near with every passing century. The Spit Cur understood what this approach meant: subjugation, or extinction. There would be no negotiation, no sanctuary beneath the Lawn skies. So, they chose something unprecedented. Kalia, once merely a moon, place of retreat and contemplation, was transformed. Its crust hollowed, its core reforged. Ancient knowledge inherited from the Yarrow was turned inward, reshaping what was once a sanctuary into a vessel. And when the hour came, Kalia ignited. It tore free from the orbit, abandoning the only home the Spit had ever known for a millennia. Lawan diminished behind them, not destroyed, not yet, but left to whatever fate the encroaching power would soon deliver. The voyage of the exiled had begun, not an act of conquest, not an act of rebellion, merely an act of survival. In the same year, the power of the Spit Cur had fled, at last emerged from the dark. The Four soon entered the system, and the subjugation of Lawan began. While civilizations rose and fell beyond human perception, it was only in the early 20th century that humanity began to truly grasp the scale of its wider galaxy, and with that depth comes darkness. In the 1930s, whispers began to circulate from the Yucatan Peninsula, stories of a pyramid, long avoided, a structure older than recorded history, older than civilization itself. And those unlucky few who went to uncover its secrets were never seen again. Then, in the spring of '94, a long-held silence was broken. A holographic entity manifested before President Bill Clinton, a being identifying itself as Ryu Toth, a diplomat of the long-absent Yarrow. Its message was not one of diplomacy, it was a warning. Ryu Toth informed the president of the existence of the working canter below the pyramid, and the power it could wreak if it were to gain its full strength. It advised him to use their nuclear warhead immediately, or face a fate worse than death. The United States complied. A Special Forces unit was dispatched to deliver the warhead within the strange pyramid. Of that team, only one survived, Sergeant Eddings. He not only returned with his life, but with artifacts recovered from within the structure, objects of unknown origin and impossible design. Military records indicate that Eddings later destroyed these artifacts during a classified demonstration. Whether they were truly the last cannot be confirmed. 2 years later, something even more extraordinary occurred. The Yarrow, absent for 64 million years, re-emerged from seclusion, not to conquer, not to reclaim, but to ensure that the working canter would never again threaten the galaxy. In the decades that followed, humanity advanced at an extraordinary pace. Technologies once thought theoretical became commonplace. Barriers that had constrained progress for centuries dissolved in a matter of years. Whether this acceleration was born purely of human ingenuity or gently guided by Yarrow influence remains a matter of debate. History suggests they have intervened before, and humanity has always been eager to learn. And that's where we'll end the video for today. I hope y'all enjoyed your time, and if you did, please like and subscribe. I'm so excited for you to join me in this journey into Marathon, and it is a journey, as I and the channel find its voice and style of content. Look out next week for part 2, and a preview of the next series here at Tau Ceti Archives. Oh, and last thing before we go, comment your favorite part of the Marathon lore. Everyone have a great day. I've been your host Ozzy. Happy running.